Okay, good morning, class. Good morning, class. Good morning, sir. Otherwise, people think I'm speaking to myself. Okay. You guys had some homework, correct? Good. Was there any problems with the homework? Did you have any problems with the homework? Sorry? No. So nothing I need to explain. Okay, good. So now we're looking at example 1 on page 6. Example 1 on page 6. Okay. We are told that the sixth term of a arithmetic sequence is -1. The sixth term of an arithmetic series or sequence is -1. So the sixth term is T6. Not so. So in other words, T6 is negative. And the sum of, what does sum stand for? Morning, don't you guys agree? You see, you get a better morning than what I do. Thank you. Okay, so the sum means what? To add. The sum of the second and eighth term. So in other words, that is going to be T2 and T8 is -2. So what do I write? T2 plus T8 is equal to -2. Determine the first three terms of the sequence. Now remember for arithmetic sequences, your first term is A, not so? Then how do I get the next term? I add my common difference. So I get D, not so? Then A plus 2D, and so on. So if they ask you for the first three terms, that's what to do would be, not so? So if I can determine my value of A, and I can determine my value of D, then I'm good to go. Not so? So, if you got T6, and we have here T2 plus T8, it's -2. What does Tn stand for? Tn. A plus n minus 1d. Not so? Tn, which is my general term, is going to be a plus n minus 1d. Okay? So what do I tell you is T6. Then what would change here? It will be a plus 6 minus 1, which is what? What, 6 minus 1? Yes. See, you guys are showing promise now. Now you can say 5. So in other words, T6 is going to be A plus 5D is equal to minus 5. Not so? So what do I have? I have two unknowns. So what they remind us when we have two unknowns, our favorite simultaneous equations. Not so? Two unknowns, simultaneous equations. So immediately I'm going to make one of the two the subject of the formula. Which one do you think I'm going to make the subject of the formula here? A. Why? There's no coefficient here. I could make D the subject of the formula, no problem, but then I'm going to go into fractions, because I must divide by 5. Not so. So what do I do is I take that over. So A is equal to minus 5, minus 5. That's the equation. Okay. So if here we got T2, you know what, if there's going to be term 2 here, we're looking here now. If that is term 2, then what is this going to read? A plus 2 minus 1. So in other words, T2 is going to be A plus D. Not so? So you're going to write it in here for me. And you do the same for T8. You set it equal to negative 2. And you simplify it a bit. Okay? Okay, so for T2, it's A plus D. T8 is A plus 7D equals negative 2. Okay, I'm simplify it a bit. It's going to give you 2A plus 8D equals negative 2. Did you guys divide by 2 or you left it like that? Divide by 2. To simplify it a bit, will be A plus 4D equals negative 1. Do you all agree with that? That is equation 2. So what do we do now? Simultaneous equations. You guys still remember how to do simultaneous equations? Yes. So do that quickly. Okay. We will substitute wherever we see a, negative 5 minus 5d. It's negative 5 minus 5d plus 4d equals negative 1. So that's going to give us negative d, negative 1 plus 5 is going to give you 4. So d is negative 4. Is that correct? Right. So what do I do now to solve for a? I substitute into equation 1. Therefore a is equal to negative 5 minus 5 times negative 4, which is 15. So a is 15, d is negative 4. But have I answered the question? What was the question? The first 3 terms. Remember, what did we say the 3 terms constitutes of? A plus d and a plus 2d. So what's my a value here? 15, so that's my first term. If we're going to add d, I'm adding negative 4. What's 15 minus 4? Negative 11. Subtract 4 again. Sorry? 17. It can't be 17. Oh, 7. Nice. Any confusion here? Let's look at it again. The question said the 6th term of the arithmetic sequence is negative 5. So I write there P6 is negative 5. Okay? Remember, for T6 is going to be A plus 6 minus 1, which is A plus 5D is equal to negative 5. By the end, the subject of the arithmetic. If it was geometric, I couldn't have used this here. Can you see that, people? That is the general term for arithmetic only. Later on, we'll look at the geometric in the next video. Okay? The sum of, we said is plus. Later on, you'll see the difference. If there had to be difference, I would have put minus. Not so? So the sum of the second, so it's T2, and the 8th term, which is T8, is negative 2. So for T2 is A plus D, for T8 is A plus 7D. Sum thereof is negative 2. From there it's just simultaneous equations. Okay? You guys okay with that? Let's look at the next question. Which page are we on? 6. What is going on? That's the one we did? No. Yeah. That's the example we did. So that brings us to exercise 2. Okay, so out of exercise 2, we're going to do number 2, and number 6. So exercise 2, you're going to do 2 and 6. And it's on page 7. Guys finish? Still busy? Okay, so here we are told that the 11th term of the arithmetic sequence is 57. The sum of the first and the fourth term, so the 11th term is 57, so T11 is 57. So this T11 can be written as A plus 10D is equal to 57. And now it's going to go into what? Simultaneous equations, not so? Again, he's asking the first three terms, so this is actually 2.1. There's going to be A is equal to 57 minus 10D, and this is equation 1. Okay? The sum of, so again it's plus, of the first and the fourth term. So the first is what? T1. So T1 plus T4 is equal to 29. So what is T1? Just A, the first term. It's A plus therefore A plus 3D is equal to 29. Let's simplify this a bit. This is going to be 2A plus 3D is equal to 29. Am I going to divide by 2 here? No. Why? It's not common. You guys understand? Okay? And this is equation 2. Now I can do simultaneous equations from it. So, if I see A, I put a 57 minus 10D. Okay? So what do I get there? Therefore, 2 times 57 minus 10D plus 3D equals 29. 2 times 57 is 114, correct? Minus 20D plus 3D equals 29. So that's negative 17D's. 29 minus 144 is 80? 90? 85. In the negative, no? So if I divide by 17, I should get 5. So D is 5. Have I answered the question? No. I still need to solve A as well. Not so. Why am I solving A and D? The reason for that is because we know that the first three terms of the sequence is going to lie like this: A plus D, A plus 2D, and so on. This is the reason why we're calculating A and D. Okay? So what do we do with this again? We sub that into equation 1. Why not into equation 2? Because in equation 1 we already have A as the subject of the formula. Not so? So let's do the substitution. So therefore A equals 57 minus 10 times 5, which is 7. So what are the three terms? A, 7, you add a D, which gives you 12, and another D, which gives you 17. So these are your first three terms of the sequence. Okay. So what's the next question? Determine the formula for the nth term. Well, they're going to just ask you the general term. Determine the general term. So the general term will be in the form of what? N equals A plus N minus 1D. Right, did you guys complete this question already? No. Okay, I'll give you a minute. Okay, so what do we get? Remember that A is your first term, which is 7, plus N minus 1 times, and what's my D value here? 5, common difference. Multiplying this in, I get 7 plus 5N minus 5. So it's going to be 5N plus 2. Okay. The last question there, is 100 a term in the sequence? Justify your answer. So in other words, what we calculating here? Calculating in. So let's check. So in other words, Tn is equal to 100. So we have 5n plus 2 is equal to 100. We take it over, so it's going to be 5n is equal to 98. Divide by 5 both sides. So therefore n is equal to 19.6. So can that be the case? No. Therefore Tn is never equal to 100. Why? N has to be an element of natural numbers. Since it's not an element of natural numbers, therefore 100 won't be a term in the sequence. Okay. look at the next one. Try that one quickly.
Guys, finish? Okay. So we are told that the second term of the arithmetic
Good morning. May I have your attention, please? Lalita Gonzana and Kiara Johnson. Can you please report to the office for a collection now? Lalita Gonzana and Kiara Johnson to the office for a collection now. Ikona Kama, can you also report to the office? Ikona Kama, to report to the office now.
Okay, so in 6.1, the question says determine the formula for the nth term. So for the formula, I need to know the first three terms, or I need to know the value of a and b. Okay. So in order to get that, we are told the second term is 6.5. So that is a plus d, 6.5. Make a the subject of the formula. Is 6.5 minus d. That's equation 1. Then we are told the 10th term is 18.5. So it's a plus 9d is equal to 18.5. And that's equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, whenever I see an a, going to substitute 6.5 minus d. So 6.5 minus d plus 9d is equal to 18.5. So that's going to give you 18. 18.5 minus 6.5 is going to give you 12. Is that correct? Yes? Divided by 8 is going to give you 3 over 2, if I'm not mistaken. Is it 3 over 2? Yes. Right. So what do we do now? We sub that back into there. We now say therefore 8 is equal to 6.5 minus 1.5. It's going to give you 5. Is 5 correct? Right. Did you answer the question? No. So therefore the general term is Tn is equal to a plus n minus 1d. What's my a value? 5 plus n minus 1 times 3 over 2. So we multiply this in, I get 3 over 2n minus 3 over 2. 5 minus 3 over 2 is going to give you 3. So it's going to be 7 over 2. Is that correct? So that's your general term. Any confusion here? Any confusion, people? No. Then in 6.2, is 93 a term in the sequence? 93. Tn is equal to 93. Let's check. So it's 3 over 2n plus 7 over 2 is equal to 93. Linear equation. Variables one side, numbers the other side. So 93 minus 7 over 2 is what? Sorry? 89.5. So how do I get n on its own? Divide by 3 over 2 both sides. So therefore n is equal to 59.66. So could that be a term in the sequence? No. So therefore Tn for the sequence can never be 93. Why? So n has to be an element of natural number. Right, you guys understand? For homework, you're going to do for me exercise 2, the remaining sums. There should be 5 questions in total there, or 5 sums, with these sub questions. And that's on page 7. Then I want you guys to read through Unit 2, geometric sequences. We have dealt with this already last year, just to refresh your memory for Monday's lesson. You just read this part here, the introduction. Okay? People enjoy the weekend and the rest of your day. Very importantly, our maths class will start next week Friday. Okay, for the past couple of years I've given maths classes on a Friday to grade 12s. Okay. This Friday, not this Friday, next week Friday, we will start our first lesson and we will be dealing with last year's paper 2. Okay, grade 11, paper 2 of last year. Okay. You may leave.